So continuing this series of conversations talking about managing the spectrum of emotions right now as a leader. Yesterday I talked about anxiety in particular and an exercise that was put forth by Adam Fraser in the conversation that I had with him that will be broadcast on Friday. That was the 3 R's. And another topic that we discussed that I've had conversations with a number of my leader clients about is grief. And essentially a question that I put to Adam around, are we actually experiencing grief at a monumental societal level at the moment? And we had a really interesting conversation about this. And certainly I think, looking at my observations, both of my own emotional spectrum over these past few months and the observations I've made of leaders in general, but also my own clients, I think we can really see how this grieving process is playing out. I mean, clearly there's been an enormous human cost to the COVID crisis, but also there's been a lot of loss of motivation, self, identity, connection, community, a loss of dreams and hopes and aspirations for what this year and potentially the years to come were going to be. And essentially what I'm putting forth is I think this is a grieving moment. I think I can see people navigating those stages of grieving. Are they in denial? Are they angry? Are they moving through and into the sort of the depression and the acceptance, which are the latter two stages? And I think that is a potentially useful process, the grieving process, to actually think about what and kind of analyze where you are up to on this sort of emotional journey through this process. Now, I'm not an expert on the grieving process. I would say I've had my own experience with grief and grieving for the loss of people. But certainly over this current period, all those things, all those elements of loss that I mentioned, I think are very prevalent. So in this conversation, I don't really have anything to offer by way of help or advice other than simply to say, if any of that resounds with you, have a look at the grieving process and see whether in identifying maybe a point at it or on it, you could see some alignment with your own emotions and then maybe chart where you might think you might be heading next. I hope that'll be helpful. Something a little bit more specific tomorrow about sitting with discomfort. I'll see you then. If any of the ideas I've covered today have been of interest, you can find more of these messages at 4ileadership.com/insights or search Tim Collings on YouTube. And if you like, subscribe to get the daily broadcast in your YouTube feed.